3. What's up, everyone? We are here live for another episode of Heavy Muscle Radio on this January 11th, 2021 evening. And I'm joined by Chris Aceto, the technician, and John Romano. And we're supposed to be joined by Priest in a little bit. Guys, welcome. Thank you for joining me at 12 midnight here on Sunday night. But, hey, I wanted to go live today. And you know what? We don't have any shows to report, so I figured let's get the fans, give them an ability to ask us some questions here. And we have the All-Star team here tonight.
Well, we will. We're leaguing.
Yeah. And Chris actually has a real connection this week. Which is great.
He's not driving either.
No.
Dave's freezing now.
Yeah.
You're freezing up on my screen. No, you're frozen now.
Oh, now you got him frozen too.
Oh.
Yeah, John said you were frozen. No, you unfroze there.
Okay, I'm unfrozen. That's good. That's good. Someone saying happy belated birthday to Chris Aceto.
Thank you very much.
You're New Year's Eve, right?
No, 30th.
Chris is, the 30th, right? The day before. I always forget. Dave, give the people what they want. Priest versus Sean Ray live. Sean's probably sipping margarita someplace right now. Right?
We just had Sean on my show.
Oh, you did?
Fame and Fortune, yeah. He was actually a really good guest.
No, because he can talk. As long as he's talking about himself, he's fine.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was the topic.
Someone says I look like Frank Sinatra now. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's a compliment or not.
Wait, you look like Frank Sinatra?
Yeah, I don't know where that came from.
You look nothing like Frank Sinatra.
I went live.
I'm not even close.
I know. I don't know. I'll take it as a compliment. I don't know. Someone said, Chris, did you turn 39 today? This year?
No, I don't feel a day over 60.
Thanks.
I see our friend, I think that's Xavier Wills, Desktop Bodybuilding.
Who?
Xavier Wills, Desktop Bodybuilding. He said, supposedly Ian Valier recently said that Kai Greene is overrated. What do you think about that, John?
As a bodybuilder, overrated?
I guess that's what they mean. What else are they going to mean? Like as a public speaker?
What's the rating? What's the rating scale? I mean, is he like 12 on a scale of 10? I mean,
I think we're all gushing about, Kai, if he came back, he could win the Olympia. Are we overrating him? I don't know.
Kai's an amazing bodybuilder. He's one of the freakiest bodies on earth. I mean, is that morph into a Mr. Olympia under the current lineup? I don't know. I'd like to see him up there. I think it would be cool. But to say he's overrated, I don't think he's overrated. I think he's rated.
Chris, by the way, Chris, the fans like your new headset.
It's my son's for his school, which he has in like 8 hours.
Oh, that's right. They got to do school.
It's like mission control in NASA. It sounds really good.
Hey, there he is, the one and only Priest. Were you at the gym, Lee? You're mute today. That might help our ratings. We may not get demonetized.
Yeah. That's probably the only way we would get monetized is if we had a mute Lee. just mute the cunt, and we'll send you the money.
Oh, it is Xavier. Yeah. He meant as a bodybuilder. He said he's a great bodybuilder, but he's overrated.
I don't know. I don't see anybody like overrating him. I mean, where is he overrated?
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, what's it mean? I guess. Ask Lee.
Exactly.
Ask Lee. He's competed against. Has Lee? No, I don't think he's competed against him, but he's got his pro card. No one else does here.
Right.
He just doesn't have a microphone.
You know what the problem is? I think what people don't realize is that Kai Greene on stage was one of the most dangerous bodybuilders of all time. The fact that he's been teasing and taunting us that he's going to make a comeback for the last couple of years, I think is annoying people now, including the existing competitors, because I think they feel like disrespected a little bit. Like, look, we're better than Kai now. We've passed him. Yeah, Kai was great in his day, but he's not the Kai Greene from 5 years ago. And I don't know if I would disagree with that. I think Chris would agree with that statement, right?
That he's not the same guy as he was 5 years ago?
Yeah.
I mean, who's the same guy he was 5 years ago? Phil Heath is not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the fact is that Kai, when he was competing, was absolutely super dangerous, super threatening, unbelievable bodybuilder. But he hasn't been on stage since what, like 2016.
Yeah.
And so, 4 years is a long. 4 years is not a long time when you're 28 to 32, but when you're 37 to 41, and or whatever he is, 38 to 43, he's definitely in his 40s. I mean, Phil hit 40, and granted, he took a year off and stuff, but he came back at 40, and he's not the same bodybuilder as he was at 33.
Well,
35.
Do you think that Lee? Do you think that Phil will come back again and compete? Because a lot of people are speculating. Well, he's not going to may not do the Olympia, but he might come back and do the Rock show or the Arnold.
Wait, Phil or Kai? Who are we talking about?
I'm just going now that he's mentioned Phil. I'm asking Lee what he thinks about Phil.
Can you hear me?
Oh my! Don't pull a Valentino on us. Come on.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can.
Oh, I wasn't sure.
There's Sid watching us live too.
Oh, cool. Hey, Sid.
Sid, you should join us. I'll send you the link.
Yeah, he should join us.
Will Phil come back? Well, I'd like to see him come back.
Would he?
Huh?
You think he would now?
Well, I don't know, because I don't know how long he had to train for that last Olympia. Like, maybe he only had 6 months or so with his injuries and stuff. So if he's going to quit and give it up, I'd like to see him give it a full 12 months just to see how he could look with a full 12 months under his belt, because someone said he only had like 6 months serious training for that comeback. So if he, did a whole 12 months, I'd like to see how he'd look and then judge it from there. But, it's like Chris said, it's hard to say when you've had given a little bit of time off, you come back and things have changed. But even that drive too, that whole mentality, if you don't have that drive mentally, they're getting ready for a show. Even at 98%, you're not going to beat someone that's a full 100% getting ready for a show. Just that little bit, when you're at that level, that little bit of percentage, if you're not 100%, you're not going to win. So you've got to be all or nothing. So I don't know if he still has that drive and hunger that like someone like Rami and the others might have still.
What do you think, John?
Anybody can do anything within a certain, degree of parameters. How is his age a factor? Yeah. Does the time off do him good? It could. It just depends. It depends on how much hunger and how much fight and how much drive you got in you to do it. I mean, could he take 12 months and do a Rocky comeback? Probably. I mean, he might be able to. I wouldn't count him out. But like Lee said, if he only had 6 months to get ready for the show, he had injuries, had his hernia issue and whatever. I think the question people are pondering is, have the physiques now that are here, Big Ramy, Hadi Choopan, these guys, have they eclipsed the Phil physique and the Kai physique? And this is what you're saying is moving forward. So I don't know. I mean, I think Kai. I think Phil has had his run. I think he's done. Kai, on the other hand, I think Kai could come back and mix cause trouble in the top 5.
Chris, what do you think
about Phil coming back?
Yeah.
I think Lee and John summed it up. You have to be, on paper he could, right? And he does have the best genetics, and he's beaten all these guys over and over before. I mean, I was there at the show, and it's weird, Dave. I don't know about you guys, but he looks like in pictures. I was looking at pictures recently, and I thought
he looks great. He looks good, right? In pictures.
Yeah, he looks really, really, really good. But in person, all I could think of is like, God, he looks like he's got no water retention. It looks like he's got no body fat. He just not Phil, But in pictures, he looks like Phil. So I'm thinking like, well, was Ramy just like that much bigger? And that was Phil that we always see, because he looks like good in pictures, and just that, Ramy is that much more dominant in terms of size over him. It's hard to, it's hard to even advise. Like if, Phil called someone up, Dave, hey, what should I do? It's
I
hard
would
to
say
even say,
retire. I would say retire at this point. No, it's nothing to prove.
That's the
He's got
problem.
to make money in bodybuilding. He doesn't need to get on stage anymore. Well, I mean, he's just going to ruin his legacy, I think.
Yeah. No, I mean, his legacy is like still 1000% intact. And if you come back and you get a fourth by a fluke, somebody comes, Hardy comes in at his all-time best, just there's other people, and he ends up a fourth. Yeah. And you say like, well, maybe he wasn't as good as he was. Well, he was as good as he was, and just like leave it at that.
Right. He's just in his 40s now. If there was a Masters Olympia this year, 2021, and they held it at the end of 2021, like in December, this is a question from the thing. Would we see Lee Priest on stage? So Lee, we'll let you answer that. And B, would we see Dexter back on stage even though he claims to be retired?
Yeah, if they have a Masters Olympia figure, I'll come back.
What do you think, Chris? You think we would see the return of Dexter Jackson and Lee Priest?
Dexter's done.
You think he wouldn't come back for the money?
Look at this.
No, I think he,
Would Phil do it for Masters?
No, Phil would never do a Master show.
Will we see that arm looks pretty good? Let me see the other arm though.
Yeah.
Dexter's done because he wants to be done, Dave. I meant not.
Yeah,
I think Dexter would do it just to rack up the other trophy.
That other arm looks pretty damn big. That's the bad arm, guys.
Wow.
This is the good arm.
Are you on any juice, Lee, right now?
Oh, yeah. You see the difference.
I'm taking these mental X. My friend has these. The company I'm sponsored by has these mental X. And in his ad for it, he goes, this is the closest thing you'll ever get to Dianabol and Anavar. And he has like a wink at a time. And I've been taking them for 2 weeks. And whenever I used to take Dianabol, I'd really fill out a bit. My face would get a little bit puffy like it has now. My traps would come up. In the last 2 weeks, I've put on 9 kilos using these mental X supplements over the counter.
9 kilos.
I said, how close are these to Dianabol? He just goes, I don't want to say.
Is he pulling another hot stuff? Like, remember back in the day, hot stuff had supposedly methyl testosterone in it?
My eating hasn't changed. I've been taking 2 caps a day and put on 9 kilos. And like I said, the exact same things I get from Dianabol, I'm getting from these.
He's going to need Alan Dershowitz. The owner's going to need Alan Dershowitz, David.
Or a pardon from Trump, for sure.
Yeah, pardon. I think Dexter would do it, Dave. I think he would do it to get all the trophies that you can possibly get.
Well, he's won the Masters Olympia before.
Yeah.
I know who would do it. Samir would come back and do it.
Samir would come back and do the over 60 for sure. Yeah.
Dexter won the Masters Olympia?
Yeah, you remember
when it was big money. It was big money.
When that Jarka woman.
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
Yeah. Well, but that's so then he's got nothing to prove.
No, but he might want to do it just for the hell of it. But think about it, there's a lot of guys over 40 now that could do that.
He has won every trophy that you can win.
Pretty much. I don't think he's missed a single show.
He won the universe. Did he? No. Did he?
No. Well, I'm just saying, as far as pro shows go, I think he's won everything.
He's won everything there is. Everything. Right?
See, I've got a Mr. Universe title. They don't have that, see. One for me.
One for him. Which was a comeback. Right?
Yeah. Now, would you compete at the end of the year, Lee? Or are you not ready yet?
Me, I'm not ready yet. No. I'll compete when I'm 50.
You got to go to 4 of those capsules a day that are like Dianabol. Put on 20 kilos.
I'm going to get Chris Aceto and Palumbo to prep me.
There you go.
Who's this guy they all talk about that's doing the other guys? I always see on Fuards they talk about that Patrick guy. Who's this Patrick guy that's meant to be the latest guru helping people?
Who, Patrick Tour?
Yeah, who's he?
He's where is he at? Brazil, Chris?
Europe somewhere.
But people make out like he's like the greatest thing. I was listening to a podcast and what's his name? James from England is like, yeah, Patrick's got me on this thing now, a new training thing where I train one day, push and pull, and I have a day off, and then I train and have a day off. I'm thinking, fuck, we did that 10 years ago. It seems like all this shit they're coming out with is stuff that's already been done over and over. I'm like, and they're like, wow, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread.
There's only so much you can do. I mean,
there's always a new guru on the block. But Patrick's been around for a long time. He's been training people for a while. The lady, they're saying that you should compete against Jason Genova at the Ruby Classic. And Big Lenny, I think, is going to be doing that too. So that's their Olympia over there, down in Florida.
The Ruby Classic.
Yeah, that's like the Olympia for like the Misfits, the Delray Misfits.
Is Jason still around? I haven't seen Jason on anything.
I haven't seen him either. He usually calls me every once in a while and tells me he wants to come down and do the show, but I haven't heard from him. So hopefully he's doing all right. I'm sure he's around. I'm sure he's. Did you hear Brad Rowe tore his quad? Which is dead news, obviously, but he did.
Well,
he was playing. He was shooting basketball hoops.
He loves basketball.
He says he always does it. It wasn't like
he
something
dunk,
like he just
right.
did.
I think he can dunk.
Wow.
I
know Phil can dunk. Or used to.
Yeah, we should have. You have one-on-one tournament at IFBB one-on-one tournament.
How many bodybuilders have torn muscles doing shit outside? You remember that big, who was it? It was Kevin and who was having that Kevin that time when they all had the big
Kevin's that sprinter, yeah. What's his name?
For their hammers and shit, and then it was like then Samir got into a fight in the gym and threw a punch and tore his tricep. And it was like,
did he really? I didn't know that.
When the hit guy missed him because he snapped his arm really quick, he tore his tricep off the bone.
Who was he fighting, Lee? Who was he punching?
Some guy in the gym, just Samir.
An ex-judge or something. Probably a judge. Samir saw in the.
I remember he did get into a fight with a judge overseas, and that's what he got into trouble with Weider for, and got suspended for a while because he punched a judge somewhere about something. Because Samir, he thought he was in shape, but his excuse was he had too many potatoes. Should have seen me that I had too many potatoes and I smoothed it.
That's funny.
Dave, there's nothing on the screen over there, whatever you're showing us.
No, you don't see Brad Rowe?
No. Looks like you're going to tell us Fox News or something.
Yeah, I see a lot of blue circles.
Yeah. Is everyone else? I see him over there.
No, I don't see it.
No, you don't see nothing on the screen?
See if anybody listening out there live is season.
Yeah.
Can you guys see it in the comments there? Do you see my Brad Rowe pictures I have up there?
Chris and John just agree with him that we can see it. Yeah, we can see it.
No, I want to know if something's not working. Maybe it's
it looks like he's on the Capitol building.
It's not working here. No. And you're stiff.
I have pictures of. I'm showing Brad's Instagram. That's weird.
Yeah.
They're all saying nothing. Also,
maybe the platforms are conflicting.
You're
being social media is in a turmoil right now.
Let me try it again. Maybe it just didn't work the first time. Here we go.
I don't know. The algorithms are probably throwing.
Hey, I get the most important thing, which are you guys here. That's all that matters. What about now?
Now you've got the addition of a little circle spinning that has.
Did you mention Biden or Pelosi and you've been banned from YouTube or something? Maybe?
That's right. Stand up, we can't get this show monetized because of you.
Yeah. Don't say anything badly, please.
When do I ever?
Brad's got that machine, that you train that Dexter trained on, and supposedly Tyson trained on. I guess he could help him recover from the injury.
I saw someone had that on the other day doing. Could have been that James had it on or something, or somebody had it on doing hamstrings. I'm like, it just seems too much of a hassle to have all those wires. You got to take the big fucking cart around the gym with your battery pack and shit. I'm like,
back in the day, when I was in the 80s, or I think it was that. Yeah, it was 80. No, in 1990 they had that EMS machine. Remember, Chris? They would advertise it with that Bulgarian guy in the back of the magazines.
Yeah.
And my roommate in med school had that machine. It was expensive. I didn't know anyone who ever bought that machine. So I got the machine. And I wanted my calves to grow because I always had good quads, but my calves weren't big enough. And I would sit and study for like 6 hours with the machine on my calves on the highest setting, so they were like, you know, it would make you like your calves contract like nuts. And I would sit there for hours with the thing on. And I don't know if it worked. I don't think it worked, but I can understand how, like, if you don't do anything, so let's see, we're injured. It's a passive, you know. It definitely can help with rehab. I don't think you put any size on it. Personally, I didn't see any difference in Dexter's legs, you know, training with the machine versus not, you know. He still looked like Dexter to me, you know.
Well, he didn't do.
It's like a fancy TENS machine. That's all it does. It just contracts the muscle. Like you said, if you're an elderly person and you can't get up, you can put on your legs maybe to stimulate the muscle. If you can train, I can't see how if you're squatting heavy, putting that on is going to contract your legs any more than squatting heavy would, or leg pressing or anything. It's like I don't see how it's going to. Remember they used to have those in the magazines, wasn't it, for abs? Remember you could get those ones you put on your abs. You never had to train abs. You just sit there.
Yeah. Or you could just lean into a chain link fence. That
Someone said that Chris Aceto is the only one who could say bodybuilding. I don't know what that means exactly, but Chris, the onus is on you.
No idea what that means.
You got to get busy.
It doesn't need to be saved.
Right.
Sergio Oliva Dave told me if I hooked up Brad Rowe's electronic machine to my birthday cake, when I make a wish, I get a 60% chance of my wishes coming true. 60% better chance.
That's good odds.
Has it actually been proven? Has anyone like done a study with this machine where it actually has shown actual build more muscle or whatever, or is it just they just say it feels good? Because I remember when I used to do biceps years ago and I had the best bicep workout, I'd come home and used to sit there and just flex my arm till it cramped. And I'd get the worst cramp, but I'd hold that cramp for like 5 minutes, then I'd let it go, then I'd cramp it again. And then the next day and 2 days later, my arm was that sore that I felt like I had the best workout ever and the arm felt full just because I deliberately make my muscle cramp up all the time. Pretty much that's what the machine does, isn't it? Doesn't it just make your muscles sort of...
Well, it causes the nerve to fire and spasm the muscle. But yeah.
Cocaine does that.
Yeah. It's contractions. Well, it's the same thing as training. I mean, you're contracting every time you lift a weight. So you're contracting it by your own force or by the electronic impulse. It's the same thing.
Yeah. No.
We lost Lee.
I'm skeptical, Dave, on it.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why people saying I'm actually moving slow in slow motion. Am I moving slow motion?
He's gone completely.
Yeah, he'll come back. He'll come back.
You're freezing, and he's completely gone.
That's weird that I'm freezing because I'm the one orchestrating the whole live stream.
Do you see him freezing, Chris?
No, but my crappy internet may be having an effect on him.
No, I think I don't know. People are really loving your new headphones, Chris. I got to tell you,
I'm skeptical of the electric machine. I don't care what type of pump it gives you. My anti-science hypothesis is it'll be discovered that it causes less growth.
Probably. Right. You know what it is? I think it's good if you, like I said, that machine is great if you have an injury. Like for Brad tore his quad. When he comes back, he can't be putting serious weight on that quad, but you could passively, use that machine to stimulate the muscle and get some, muscle stimulation without having to actually, train the thing. So I think for rehab purposes, that machine is excellent, and I think
like Lee said, it's like a TENS unit, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. I think those could be, effective for just keeping the muscle firing and working, but it's not going to replace actual movement.
Yeah.
400-pound bench presses.
Right. Keep talking, guys. I'm gonna reboot. I'm gonna just not reboot. I'm gonna just refresh my browser. You guys keep trying. Nothing's gonna happen. I'm just gonna.
But that's what I figured. I was going to get one of those things after I had my neck operation when my tricep wasn't firing because I couldn't flex my tricep. So I was going to get one of those just to put on it. So I think it'd be good for that type of thing. But I think if you can actually use your muscles, I don't see the point in it.
Sure. Do I look better, guys? Am I moving better? No.
No, you're still.
I'm still suck.
You still look shit.
Wow.
My camera went off my computer, so I had to switch to the phone.
Oh. Well,
let me just check.
You're in Australian. It looks great.
Yeah.
Let me just check if I look okay.
I want to show you guys. I think I tried to look up. I think
Chris has got his glasses up here. I got to be in this.
I'll be doing it too.
Levrone, remember we talked about Levrone before? Levrone raced Tim Montgomery. That was who he raced.
That's who it was. Tim Montgomery, the fastest man in the world.
I mean, I got to take my hat off to Levrone. You know why? Because he didn't just challenge like a world-class Olympic sprinter. He challenged the fastest guy in the world to a race. And I got news for you. For the first 40 meters, he was holding his own against him.
Until his hamstring went, he was doing fine.
I mean, that takes balls.
All he
didn't just say, I'm going to race some Olympic sprint. Like, I mean, he picked the best guy, the fastest guy in the world.
Well, even if you lose him, it's still, say you've been just lost by a second or so to the world's fastest. I mean, that's better than losing to a nobody by a second.
Right,
so.
exactly.
So
do you know how everyone else, how no one would have even been close to this guy? Levrone has balls. And you know what? If that would have taken place nowadays with live streaming and Instagram, it would have been, people would have gone nuts. You could have sold tickets for that thing.
Oh, especially with the exploded hamstring. That's what people want to see. Blood.
I was making a movie a couple of years ago, and in this scene, I had this hitman was after me, and I was running down the beach, and he was chasing me with a shotgun. I had to do take after take, and on the fifth take, I'm running. I blow my hamstring. I'm like, fuck. So now we've got to do it again. They're like, okay, your hamstring's been pulled. We'll just run half speed, and we can speed it up and look normal speed. So we do the scene again. The guy's chasing me, and all of a sudden I hear, fuck, the guy chasing me did his hamstring. So now we're both running, both got blown hamstrings. But the worst thing was, after he gets me, he's got to drag me back along the beach to the hole to bury me. And he's trying to drag me through the sand with his hamstring, and all he's like is, fuck this is fucking shit sucks, this fucking sucks. So yeah.
Crazy. I noticed, by the way, I look at another browser, and I don't know why my connection is so terrible, but
usually mine.
You know what? You guys keep talking. John, you take over. All right, you start asking questions of these guys. I'm going to reboot my computer. I think that it shouldn't affect the live stream at all because it's being done via StreamYard, and then I'll come back, and this way, hopefully, I want to show you a great clip that I have that you guys are going to love. All right, keep talking, John. I'm leaving.
Says Lee Priest versus Eddie Hall boxing. I haven't done boxing for a month. After my neck operation, I went the other day just to hit the bag for 3 rounds, and shit, I was out of breath after 3 rounds of hitting the bag.
That'll torch you really, really fast.
Well, I was doing it for cardio too, and I was going to this guy who's a champion boxer trainer. I was doing sparring up there. And the thing is, he gives you we do like 7 3-minute rounds, but he only gives you 30 seconds between each round. And I'm like,
oh, well, I would do the bag. I would do the bag 1 minute rounds with 30 seconds rest in between. Try to do 10 of those. That's really hard.
I said at home I'd do the 3-minute rounds, like 10 of them with a minute in between. I go to see him, I get 30 seconds. But then when you start sparring, it's sort of even worse because now you're getting the wind knocked out of you at the same time. You're trying to catch your breath.
There's nothing worse than being out of breath and getting hit too.
You think at what
over here?
Especially if they get you right in the fucking sternum or stomach, and you're like,
body shots when you're trying to breathe. Then you gotta tie up and just your breath.
It's like you're trying to look out the corner of your eye to see the clock and go, how many more seconds?
That's when you realize that ring seconds are longer than even microwaves.
Terrible.
Chris, did Dave talk to you about the Dan Duchaine tribute show he wants to do?
No, I didn't. It's funny he hasn't had one yet.
Well, it was interesting that he didn't bring you up. I go, you cannot have that show without Chris Aceto. It's impossible.
I told you we grew up in the same town.
I know, and you were in Venice and all that together.
It's bizarre that we were in the same, town, literally. Stomping grounds was where I grew up. He used to train all 2 weeks out of every summer at the same gym I trained at, University of Southern Maine.
I trained at the same prison as he did.
A little bit more intimate than training at the University of Southern Maine. But he used to sell that Ultimate Orange back then in like a little Ziploc baggie.
Yep.
And I was like 15 years old in the gym, and someone said, "Oh, this guy knows blah 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 bodybuilding." I'm like, how? Because right, he was like probably 150 at the time, and as you know, he was he went to school for what theater.
Theater, right? He was a theater man.
Because I asked him like, right away. I was only 15. What's your background? He's like theater.
Theater made no sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dave, we were talking about the Dan Duchaine tribute show that you're going to have.
Oh yeah, we're going to be doing. Yeah, Chris, you should join us for that because
Dave, I told you you can't make this up. It's the smallest world of all time. Is that I grew up in Portland, Maine.
Yeah.
And the next town over is the town that he grew up in.
And you trained at the same gym.
And we trained at the same gym. And he'd come home to see his mother every summer. And I was 15 years old, and he was talking to me about anabolics at 15. I had honestly no idea what he was talking about.
Yeah. That's funny.
And he was a character back then at 15,
Chris didn't know anything about the anabolics, and Dan is like probably like assuming that you did, right?
Dan loved pushing all his stuff on.
That's right.
On everybody. If I'm doing New Bane, then everybody's doing New Bane.
That's 100%.
But the funny thing is, Chris, if you were really into it at the time, you would have probably
I was
loved
scared
it.
Of him.
Yeah.
Scared. I was still from Maine, dude. He was like, I live in Los Angeles, and I know Arnold, and I know
Lee. You know what? Someone said that you have Boston Lloyd said you have a small penis. Is that true or not?
No, I've never had problems or never had people.
The computer froze.
Again, I froze.
No, I didn't hear that question, and it sounded interesting.
I said
he said Boston
Lloyd said that that Lee had a small penis. I wanted to know if that was true or not.
No, I've never had complaints, and I'm in proportion for my body. So,
did Paul Dillette say you were a disgrace for a white man?
No. Paul said I was blacker than Sean. Whatever that meant.
Yeah, whatever it meant, exactly.
Yeah, but if Boston wants a dick pic, I can send him one. I remember seeing a picture of Boston standing there naked. It must have been a cold day. I saw Boston standing there. So.
Yeah, well, he admits that he has a small penis. He
look like a stack of quarters.
Better than a roll of nickels.
Oh my god!
Hold on, I'll get him a photo. I'll just fluff up first.
Do you have a fluffer over there?
Yeah.
Oh, the massage gun.
Yeah. I didn't know I needed to get married. I wouldn't have got married if I had one of these.
That's right.
Yeah, we'll go back to my sex doll.
Yeah, John's convinced that once sex dolls come out, there won't be any more relationships.
Well, have you seen them now? Like I watched, there was a documentary on one and stuff, and some of those ones they're making in China, they look bloody real. It's like, it's not like the old days. It's not like the old days where it was like this.
Some bodybuilder guy married his sex doll.
Yeah. Well, there was that movie Cherry 2000. Remember where the Cherry 2000 was the
that was a good movie.
A robot.
My wife's looking at me now because I made the joke about the massage gun, saying I wouldn't get. Oh, I'm only joking. I love you. Put the knife away.
He's flying over there. Yeah, no, that's going to be a big problem when those things are perfected and made economical. There's no guy on earth that would marry a real girl.
I just want to know if you order, like say I ordered one here in Australia, because things come through customs and they go through X-ray machines. Yeah. Just seeing that go through an X-ray machine, they'll be like, "Is that like a body or something?" They'll be like, "It's like."
But you know what? John's right in a sense. Like, I mean, think about it. There's so much. First of all, the prostitution the business would be over, right, John? I mean, at that point. But there are guys that would prefer that to a real woman.
Well, you ever see that cart? I don't know, joke. It's a difference between a man and a woman. It's a electronic box, and the box for the woman has got lights and switches and numbers and digital readouts and dials and all this wires coming out of it. And the one for the guy is a one switch on off. And that's pretty much it. I mean, we're very simple, So a lot of our interaction with women is we got to freaking decode this shit, and learn how to speak girl. Anticipate and understand what when she says the spoon is in the drawer. That does not mean the spoon is in the drawer. That means something completely different and very detrimental to you if you don't figure it out.
and it means they really wanted the fork. You should have known that. Just because I said spoon,
silverware. It's got nothing to do with the lawn. I don't know, but But see, all that would go, and then guys got a lot of stress. Guys go to work, and they get stressed out, and then they're going to come home, and then the shower's leaking, or the faucet's dripping, or the pool skimmers weren't cleaned out, or whatever, all this shit. And then what guy wants to deal with that? I mean, a lot of us deal. I'm not saying that. Wait, I take that back. A lot of us want to deal with that, but
it's like,
if you had a choice, I could have unlimited sex with the most amazing looking thing I could ever have created whenever I want. And she's going to do the dishes, cook all my meals, not say a word, and, do whatever I tell her to do. There's a lot of guys who that's attractive to.
You should have been born in the 60s.
I was.
But I mean, like,
that's why I think
age,
like that.
You got to be. But you ever watch those? I always laugh with my wife when we watch those shows, like those house hunting shows, where they go looking for these big homes, and the first thing the women say is, "Oh, the kitchen's too small. I need a big island. I need this and that for entertaining." I'm thinking, you're not going to use nothing but the fucking microwave. So I was like, what the hell are you on about? They need this big burner stove and oven. They don't even know how to use it. But it's like, I want to be able to stand here and cook and look out to the open floor plan and talk to my guests. It's like, what? Why you got pizza out there delivered?
All right, I wanted to bring John Hansen had put this clip up on his YouTube channel. It was the 19. Well, first of all, I'm going to quiz you guys. Chris will probably get the answer right. The 1985 WABBA WABBA Pro Mr. World.
Cal Scallop in it. Cal Scallop?
I don't know about Cal. It was
Sergio Oliva?
Ed Kowak,
Samir,
Jeff King, Samir. Right? Lee, you got it. Yes, Samir. I'm going to put this clip up. Hold on.
This would be another clip we can't see.
Let's hope. Well, I rebooted, so let's see if
give me the left, Dave.
The
WABBA 85. Yeah, it was in Worcester.
Oh, look.
You can see it. Okay, here we go.
What happened?
I can put on the Lee Priest glasses.
See if you guys can name these guys.
Dave, I was there.
You were there?
Yeah, you wanted Dave. You can't make this stuff up with
85.
85. You know why?
High school.
So were you, Dave?
Ed Kowak.
Samir.
Right, Samir.
It was in Worcester, Mass.
Oh, it was? I thought it was overseas. I didn't know
it was in Worcester, and I went to school in Springfield.
Oh, wow. How did they get Samir in that show?
Money.
Oh, because he was Mr. Olympia.
Do you know the backstory to it? You want to know the Samir story to it?
Yeah.
So they offer, like, at that time.
Who's that black guy?
Terry Pastel.
Oh, it is Terry Pastel. He looks great.
I knew that too.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Lance Strayer.
Whatever happened to Jeff?
Oh, wow.
Lance Strayer. He had good forearms. Lance Strayer.
Ed Kowak looked good for that show.
He was a freak.
Great for that show. He's
huge. That guy in the background there in the red trunks with the mustache. Didn't he do the Olympia at one stage too?
Is that Mike Sable?
Mike Sable.
No, not
okay,
Sable. I think it's a guy from Germany, wasn't it?
Kowak's crushing him, man. Look at that.
Yeah, crushing. And Samir was Mr. Olympia 2 years ago.
I know. Holy shit.
Remember how good Kowak looked at the 88 Olympia?
Yeah.
Yeah, he looked crazy.
Terry Pastel looks amazing. He just looks really small next to Kowak.
Yeah,
he would have been classic physique Mr. Olympia probably today, right?
So, Dave, the backstory is they give. See, Romano's just like me. Puts on his glasses. He's
is that Jeff King?
He wants to
right
see.
there on the left?
Look at us. We're like the Brady Bunch with glasses.
I know.
That's called getting old, guys. Yeah.
Getting old.
Wait a minute. Is this maybe this is not the Worcester show? Is it the Worcester show? Is Jeff in it?
Yeah, he's supposed to be in it, I think.
To the left, you can't see him.
Let me skip ahead here.
I don't see any sauce.
Is that dude on the left in the blue?
Isn't that Jeff King right there?
No, that's Lance Strayer. That's Lance Strayer.
On stage, isn't that Jeff King on stage right there?
No, that is Lance Strayer.
Really? Oh,
in the middle.
Yes, in the blue.
Oh,
Hey,
looks like
it's Master Dave Masterakis next to Samir, right? That's Dave Masterakis.
That's Sable.
That's Sable.
That's Mike Sable. Yeah,
Mike Sable.
Looks just like Masterakis.
There's
that
Jeff.
looks like Jeff King.
There's Jeff.
Oh, there's Jeff. It is Jeff.
There's
Right in
Jeff
the light
there.
blue. That's Jeff in the light blue. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so Dave, there's a Samir story here. He wins.
Okay.
He wins first. Jeff gets second, I think. Or Jeff might have got third. Jeff gets second, I think. So the prize money is supposed to be. I'll tell you, even the prize money. I think 20. I can't. 30. It was a lot. 22,800 comes to mind as first prize.
Okay.
So Samir gets the check, and it's like $4,000 short.
Oh shit.
And they said, "Oh, there's we threw in a tanning booth worth like $4,000." And you know what, Dave? Listen, you want to hear the quote? You want to hear the quote from Samir?
Yeah.
I live in Southern California. I don't need a tanning booth. He said, I need the money. Wait, it gets worse. It gets worse. You can't make this stuff up, Dave. Samir and his friends storm.
They pull an OJ.
They pull the MAGA. They pull a MAGA crew, like storm in the Capitol building. They storm the guy's house at like midnight. They go knocking on the door of the promoter and say, "Here's the tanning booth. Give me the money." It's a true story. You can ask Samir. It's crazy, right?
Was Ali Muller with him?
I don't know who was there, but I just
who is the muscle in that group?
It had to be Ali Mala. Had to definitely be one of them, definitely, and probably the Barbarian Brothers.
Yeah, who traveled with Samir at that time back in those days?
I don't know. Look at Pastel there, though, huh?
He's great. He probably should have won the show, Pastel. Yeah. What were the final placings, Chris?
I think it was Samir, Jeff, Pastel, KY. I can't remember. I just remember. You know what? Truth be told, I remember how Pastel looked. Pastel could have won that show.
He was the most conditioned. It looked like
in the video, he looked the best. Yeah.
Look how full he is. Look how full he is for his disproportionate.
Arms really full. Waist.
That was when WABBA was trying to
talking
make
to the judges in the middle of the show.
Let me say, yeah.
Right? What's he doing? He's like talking, leaning out, like
he's arguing.
That's
arguing with somebody.
Samir would be.
He's saying the light's not good.
Them. Yeah. Look at me. I'm up here posing. Look at me when I'm posing.
You sure these guys weren't 1-2 here, Chris? They're out there alone.
Yeah, maybe Jeff was third. I don't know. He might have been third.
You think Pastel was second?
Damn.
Yeah, look at Pastel's condition, huh?
Look at that. Like 8 abs.
Yeah, he had.
Look at the shoulders and arms. They didn't know how to jimmy. They didn't know how to jimmy the stuff up back then. Those were like
his arms are definitely amazing.
I told you Pastel's leg workout with Davey. Pastel came to California with Serge Nubret maybe 4 or 5 years later.
Yeah.
And he squatted 225, Dave, seriously, for like 10 minutes. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating. He did like 20, kept it on his back, paused for like 2 minutes. Did another 20, kept it on his back, paused for 2 minutes. Another 20, kept it on his back.
Platts used to do shit like that.
I
remember with
he used to make
100 rep sets.
He used to make me do it when I did legs with him, Platts. He'd make me squat and squat and squat. I remember when Serge Nubret come to Australia, I was only probably 14, 15, I went to see him, and I remember he walked through the audience. He had this full jumpsuit on, like a white jumpsuit. I'm like, now there's a guy that looks like he got a nice body, but I didn't think he was as big as he looked in Pumping Iron. But then when he walked out on stage into the spotlight hit him. My God, there's a guy that when you see him on stage, look like he just put on 50 pounds of muscle from backstage to on stage. It was like incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Where'd you find this?
But they all had like back.
John Hansen had it on his page.
Wow.
Here's I found the
Did you see that picture?
placings. Samir first, Jeff King second, Ed Kowak third, Terry Pastel got fourth. After getting called out with Samir one-on-one, he got up in fourth place. Lance Dreyer fifth, Mike Sable sixth.
Samir would have been insulted that they did a one-on-one with the guy who got fourth.
I'll give anyone who can guess who was ninth. Chris, if you can guess who was ninth, I will give you like the special RX Muscle bonus package.
How about, can I get initials?
FB.
Francis Banthata.
No, that's a good guess.
Not Frank Bruno.
Nope.
That's the boxer. Frederick.
And it's going to tie into my next story too.
Frederick FB.
Flavio Bastianini.
Oh, was
he in the show? Yeah, I didn't even know it. And who just sent me a picture?
So freaking short, you can't see him. That's why.
And I just got a picture sent me.
Cormier just had a picture with him at the
Cormier
gym.
sent me a picture of him, and he said he trains at the same gym as him. He didn't even know it. He said, you got to get him on the show. He's living in California for the last 4 years. He looks great, too, Flavio.
Flavio Baccanini?
He's still around, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm going to get him as a guest on the TV show.
Remember the Olympia when he was next to Ferrigno, and he looked like.
Who's that up there with Samir?
Yeah.
Librado.
Yeah.
Librado could have got suspended.
Is that when it was his brother-in-law?
I'm surprised he showed up at the show. Exactly. That was a no-no, right? I'm sure the IFBB was not happy about that show, right?
Yeah.
No.
What show? He was Lee's brother-in-law back then.
Tim Belknap was the guest poser. Wow. He's the guest poser. How funny is that?
Oh.
I haven't said that name in a long time.
He was the first diabetic.
But yeah, remember he was on our show, and he said he built his body with insulin. Remember?
He admitted it. You're right.
And now he's what? He does snakes like you, right?
Yeah, he breeds boas. You're right. You're right. Hold on, I'm gonna.
He had a crazy body. That guy.
I found the picture. Hold on, look.
It's amazing that all those guys are walking around in golds.
That's Flavio with the Cormier.
Yeah.
He still looks great, right?
Looks like Mike Quinn facially.
Yeah, he's got to be, but isn't Flavio like 4'10"?
Yeah.
He's really short.
What's Cormier doing these days?
He's training people.
Training people.
The classic Flavio picture is the picture of him and Ferrigno at the Olympia. You remember when they were like they had him out on stage together?
Didn't I just bring that up?
Yeah, you did.
He doesn't listen to you, John. He doesn't listen to you.
Dave's like that FedEx commercial, John.
I'm busy looking. I'm looking for content. I'm trying to dig stuff up so we have relevant things to talk about.
You can't. Dave can't look stuff up.
I can't multitask. My wife tells me that all the time. She's like, "You're the worst."
We're talking about 80s bodybuilding, so it's very relevant.
My wife Amanda says you have no ability to multitask. I say I know. I'm just very good at what I do. When I'm doing it, that's it. I can't do anything else. If I try to focus. You ever notice that when I was in school, if I ever studied while playing music, I would either learn nothing or I would know the music tremendously.
Be a musician.
I couldn't do both. I can't. I'm not a good multitasker.
Can you do this?
No.
Pat your head
on
and
shoulder because the injured shoulder keeps coming
back. Teach Logan to do it. That's always fun to teach kids to do.
That's right.
Yeah. Pat your head and rub your stomach.
That's right. Someone's saying Lee versus Nasser.
Where?
Well, now I think Lee would beat him because Nasser ain't around anymore.
Yeah,
how big are Lee's arms right
fair.
now? Someone wants to know how big your arms are. Have you measured them?
The good arm. The good arm's 21 because the doctor measured it.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. And you're really on no drugs?
Just those things that are like Dianabol.
Except for those string things, except for the Dianabol.
That Dianabol stuff.
Let me ask. I'm going to put John on the spot. Do you believe that Lee is on no drugs right now?
He's on Dianabol. He just said.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did.
You said you're on Dianabol?
Drugs, I'll tell you.
No, he said he's not none. He said he's just on that stuff.
Okay, the stuff that's just like Dianabol.
No, he says he's on the stuff from Mental Hamster. There's no Dianabol. He's just breaking.
And why did he gain 19 kilos?
No, I think 9 kilos in 2 weeks.
Yeah, 9 kilos. He gained 9 kilos. That's like 20 pounds.
It's the placebo effect. Come on, guys, you know that.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
And my face, like I said, whenever I'm on Dianabol, my face gets a bit puffier. And
I was going to
come
say,
up
from the last week to this week, your face does look more puffy.
Here, look, I found it. I found the clip here, guys.
There it is. Flavio and Louis.
Did anyone mention that Olympia where Louis and Flavio were on stage together? Oh, there it is.
Oh, yeah. Did you ever compete against Flavio, Lee Priest? Lee, did you ever compete against him? No, you're definitely taller than he is.
That was like, what was that, 92, wasn't it? Or
92.
Yeah.
Was it 90?
Yeah.
The year Dorian first one, right?
Look at him. This was great when he put them in a headlock. Yeah.
Actually,
Can anyone name the bodybuilder to the left there?
That's the guy with the glutes from Turkey.
He was from.
Oh, yeah. What was his name?
Yeah.
There's Milos back there.
Yeah. What's his name again? He was a pro and then he went back to the amateurs, this guy. What was his name?
And Matarazzo back there.
Milos back there is like.
I think Flavio and I competed.
Look at how little.
I think I competed with Flavio at the Ironman. He might have done an Ironman that I was at once or twice.
Yeah, he did, Lee. You're right.
Lou looked great for you. You got to remember, he hadn't competed in 20 years almost.
Yeah, I know.
42 there, or 43.
Remember when he made the comeback and he had that cover?
We just lost Lee.
Yeah, we lost Lee again.
Yep.
I guess Australia is pretty far away when you think about it.
Those
are the good old days. Yep. They did cool call-outs back then. There was no way, like Louis and they just did that for the fans. They wanted to show Lou, who was 6'5", versus Flavio, who was like 4'10".
That's what Kai was inspired to do that headlock. When he saw Lou Ferrigno give Flavio that headlock, he was thinking about giving Phil the headlock 20 years later.
That's right.
I'm surprised that no one's just like busted out and started throwing hands on stage. I mean, that's the next thing that's got to happen.
Yeah. Well, Kai and Phil almost went to blows.
Almost. That doesn't count. It's like, it's like the term near miss.
Because you need guys like Mike Quinn back on stage.
A freaking accident,
Mike Quinn would have done that. He used to beat people up backstage, right?
I hired him as a security guy one time, Mike Quinn.
Didn't he punch out Phil Hill backstage?
I think he did.
Yeah, Phil Hill.
I'm surprised you didn't. Him and Titus never.
They didn't really cross paths. They really weren't competing. They weren't contemporaries. No. That was the problem.
Yeah, that was the problem.
But they probably would have gotten along. Probably those guys.
We should probably do a Titus show.
Yeah, at some point. We'll send you to. We'll send you back to the prison in Vegas.
What's her? Is she ever getting out of prison?
She's out. She's
out.
She's been out.
Let's get her on the show.
You go find her.
If I get her on the show.
All right. That's your assignment.
I want to know what lighter fluid to buy.
Well, I mean, we could ask all those questions. And I wanted, why the orange juice? Was that for the marinade? I mean, I want to know the answers to these questions.
Someone said my head looks normal. I think that's a compliment.
It's a long drive to the desert, John. You could get low blood sugar going to the desert, okay?
Dragging bodies around, yeah.
Chris, we talked about this past week with Ed Connors, Victor Richards, who, by the way, texted me that he wanted us to take the show down and that he was suing Ed Connors for.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. He did. I swear to you,
he's suing.
He said he's suing Ed Connors because the story is not true. That
wait. What did you got it? You have to very detailed here. What did
Victor Richards, according to Ed, fired a gun in one of the Gold's gyms and hit the cash register. Sorry, Chris. I bless you, Chris. He fired a gun in the Gold's gym and it lodged itself in the cash register.
And that's not true.
Well, Victor Richards says it's not, but so he had to ban Victor from the gym because he said if he ever, God forbid, he came back and shot someone, that he would be liable because he would have known about it. So Victor is, I guess, claiming that he's suing Ed Connors. He wanted me to take the show down. I didn't respond.
Pretty much.
Who are you going to believe?
Yeah,
I've known Ed for a long time. I've never known Ed to lie about stories. Ed's pretty straightforward when he.
Yeah,
and I'm sure someone could produce that with the hole in it.
Someone will sell it on eBay.
It just seemed you can't talk about anyone before. You had Shanique wanting you to take the show down. There you got Victor wanting you to take the show down. It's like, oh, geez.
No.
I'm glad you refuse and don't do that.
Well, yeah, because I believe Ed, like you said. I mean, Ed is a pretty good source of information. Yeah. He has a memory like he doesn't forget anything.
What's Ed's motivation to lie?
I don't know.
Why would, out of all the people that we could make a story up about, why would we pick out of 7 billion people in the world? Why would he pick Victor Richards to make up a disparaging false claim about?
Although Pelleccia did go crazy when Ed said that he destroyed his house, right? He's in denial of that.
Well, he forgot. Remember? He forgot.
When this show's over,
he went on a coke binge.
I'm going to message you.
He broke holes, right?
You punched
when you wake up in the morning, Dave.
They tore the trim off the doorway.
He claims he fixed it. That's why he thinks that it wasn't a big deal. Yeah.
When you wake up in the morning, Dave, you're going to have 10 messages.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to have 10 messages. No, from me telling you to take this show down.
Yeah, of course. Every show I do with you, Chris, Lee, I get a message about taking it down.
See, I leave the glasses on. You get me confused.
I confuse you. I think you're the real Aceto. Chris, people want to know if you have any stories because you were back there in Golds too. Do you have any Vic Richards run-ins?
Oh,
my Victor Richards story is when I think Paul DeMeo had won the Nationals. Some show I was with Paul and we were in the airport and people were like, Paul had Hutskins on, which Lee, I think, was in ads for. Weren't you in ads, Lee, for Hutskins?
Yeah, so, like the little unitards.
Yeah, so Paul had on like Hutskins with those crazy legs, right?
Yeah.
And he had a tank top on with, Paul, actually Lee, has crazy quads and crazy triceps. And we ran into, in the airport, Victor Richards. And Dave, his legs were like double Paul's and his triceps were like triple. And people would there was like 500 people around him.
Yeah.
And you know what? Finish the story, Lee. You weren't even there. There was 500 people around him. He had Hutskins, same outfit as Paul on. He had Hutskins pants and a tank top. And Victor could not stop talking to he was talking to people just nonstop because everyone wanted to come up and talk to him who are you? Are you a wrestler? Are you a bodybuilder? He looked crazy. And he was definitely hard. He had to be about 310.
You could get Gary Stridham on, and Gary Stridham will tell you the story that because Gary would always hit the firehouse every day. He'd drive across the road rather than walk because he just and he'd get the same thing. He'd get his chicken breast, he'd get his broccoli, then he'd sit there. And one day he'll tell you the story where he was in the firehouse and Victor come in and just started yelling at him, "Your people killed my people." He's like, "What, bro?" Gary's got that South African accent. "What, bro?" Yeah. "In your country, your people murdered my people." Gary's like, "I didn't kill your people." He's like, "In South Africa, you killed us off." And Gary's like, "I didn't have nothing to do with that." Gary will tell you that story where Victor just started yelling at him.
But it's funny you bring up him driving across the street because that's totally true. Yeah. He lived literally across the street from Firehouse, so he would drive to the gym and then which was one block, He would drive to the gym and then stop at Firehouse and drive across the street.
I mean, it was like 10 feet across the street. It wasn't like
I mean, not even catty corner. It was literally across the street.
The elevator sort of came out where you used to walk into the powerhouse gym. The elevator would come down there, but it'd come out. I'd say to Gary, by the time you get in the elevator, you go down to your garage, hop in your car, wait for the garage door to open. He'd come out that side street near Shartsies. He'd come down, do a U-turn, and park in front of the firehouse. I'm like, you could have just walked across the road. He's like, no.
Chris is laughing because he knows it's true.
He had the BMW 850.
I think he wanted to show
the whole key. That's Dave. That's the whole key. He wanted to show the car. Right.
He wanted to show the car. Do you remember, John, when Flex would be in the Gold's Gym car park? Remember Gold? You'd have the Gold's Gym front car park, but then across kitty corner, you'd have that big open space, and then the other one. Flex would actually sit there and wait. I'd see Charles sometimes waiting because Flex wanted to park up front, but so he wouldn't park anywhere else. He'd sit in the car for an hour waiting for someone to move with the music just going boom, 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 boom.
He was psyching himself up.
Someone to leave, and then occasionally, if no one left, you'd park in the handicap spot. And while he's training, Flex Wheeler to the front desk, can you go move your car? No, just keep training.
That's so true. And then when he finally got a spot, Charles has been waiting for him for like an hour. When he finally got a spot, he would walk in like
I know he's on time.
30 below zero day, like slow.
But he'd always have that walk where his arms were like this, and he'd just sort of move along and look over it and go.
He would walk so slow.
It's almost like he was floating down. It's just like a slow.
Like smoke. I used to call him smoke. He used to move like smoke across the gym.
Very cool.
He'd never say hello. He'd just look at you and go.
Well, he was like, it was like, what's his name? Like Marlon Brando coming into the gym. I mean, Flex was like a celebrity there, I guess. So,
he didn't really like to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Rico had been waiting. Rico had been waiting. Chris had been waiting, and he just comes walking in like, I'm here.
Yeah. Oh, so while I got Chris here, while his connection is still working, Chris, I got to ask you because we wanted to talk about this like 2 weeks ago when Peter McGuff passed away. You had the inside scoop on what happened at Flex magazine there. Peter was the editor-in-chief for years, and then he all of a sudden suddenly retired out of nowhere. What was the real story behind that whole thing?
There was a mutiny.
Really?
Peter was, Lee can tell you, Peter was very tight with Joe. Joe was very tight with Peter. And Lee, I mean, I don't know what your experience was, but most of the athletes, when they went up to see Joe, the first pit stop they would take is to go and hang in Peter's office. And that's not.
You'd always speak to Peter.
Everyone did it. I did it. You did it. Jay did it. Anyone. The funnest part of going up there was to see Peter and Joe. There was no other reason to go up there, really. Or to beg for a contract, get a contract renewal, and would usually, right? You'd go see Peter, and Peter would say, "Lee, go in there and ask for triple what you."
Well, I had three stops because I'd get there early, so I'd see Peter first, and where their lunch break room was, there was the candy machine. So it was Peter, then I'd go get chips and chocolates from the candy machine, and then go see Joe.
Cool.
So Joe could call you a fat boy like Joe Gold did, yeah.
I saw Jim Belknap in the parking lot there one day, and he's eating bananas and tuna fish out of the trunk of his car. Put his foot up on the trunk, and he's eating tuna fish and bananas. He had those cheeks, Tim.
Yeah.
I go, what are you doing? And he goes, I'm going to see Joe. I gotta be big.
How many shots? How many? I use insulin. You think you had to take with that?
I don't know. But he had this whole formula there with the bananas, tuna fish, and insulin. But,
I used to always just sit outside the office sometimes waiting for Joe. Was his secretary Annalise? Annalise
for all those years, yeah.
Yeah. So I'd sit there and wait, sometimes talking to her, and then I'd sit there just looking at all the statues, Remington statues, going, I bet that's worth 200,000. I bet that's worth 100,000. That statue. I bet.
Lee. It was going up to Weider's office, was including in his office. For most people, it was bodybuilders. It was their first experience with wealth, to see what wealth looked like. You know, because you'd go into the office, be quiet, shh, it's very quiet, like a library, like a museum, and it looked like a museum. And the ceilings were soaring, and white marble floors.
Those huge oil paintings as soon as you walk in of all the Olympia winners, the huge oil paintings on the wall, and
everything had that old time 1920s strongman kind of feel, you know.
It would look like they hired a professional decorator. It was gorgeous.
But it was all that period, you know. It was kind of like all, you know, Milo Croton-esque, you know.
So again, let Chris finish the story, because this is a good story.
So Peter was Joe's right hand man, really, and when Joe sold the magazines, I was telling Dave, because my opinion is he threw a price tag out there. You know, Dave, you love your house and you don't want to move, and you know, someone wants to buy a house and they've been asking to buy a house, and you tell your wife, you know, let's just throw it on the market for like, you know, twice what it's worth. And someone comes the next day and they say, here, sign here. And you say, oh my gosh, we have to move now. So AMI is not a publishing company. Before the internet and before TMZ, they're a gossip rag. That's it. And the people who owned AMI fashioned themselves as publishers. Except they had no respect in the publishing business. They weren't Rodell. They weren't, you know, Simon and Schuster, but they wanted to be that. But they just sold, you know, aliens pregnant with blow up doll.
The National Enquirer and those.
Aliens pregnant with Elvis's child. Yes.
So they went out. The backstory is they go out and spend $300 or $350 million on Joe's magazines, and now they're in the publishing business, so that they can, you know, we don't do stories on aliens. We're established publishers. And so I called Joe and I said, Joe, I kind of like depending on my contract. I heard you sold the company 2 days ago. And he said, don't worry. You'll have in the mail FedEx. All you have to do is sign your contract. And I think it was like 3 years. You got three years. You don't have to worry. You continue to write. Yeah. And he said, after that, you deal with Peter. So 3 years is coming up, and my contract had to renew, I think, every year after that. And so I renewed it, you know, like 3 different times, and very thankful for Peter for that. And I remember specifically one time Peter saying, quote, I'll never forget this, as long as I am in this chair, the deal is you send me articles, I send you a check. And I thought, great, because Peter's a man of his word. Right. Simple as that. And I got a call in the summer. I forget what year it was. And, you know, Peter never calls me, ever. I call him. And he said, remember that conversation we had about so long as I'm in this chair? I said, yeah, I knew where I was going immediately.
Right.
He said, I'm not in that chair anymore. So I'd just been, I wish I could remember his witty humor. He might have used the word mutiny. They flew him to New York, AMI, and Alan Donnelly and the gang, who was the new gang on the block at Flex, torpedoed him. They got him out of that position.
How though? And did they fire him, or did they? Because he supposedly resigned. You know.
You know what? I think it was this. You're not, you know, forcing me out. I'll resign before you force me out.
Oh.
And you know, the fact is that when Joe was there, the magazines were, you know, firing on all cylinders. And the minute AMI took over, it started to go down. Because you know what? Not only did they know nothing about publishing, they only had a monopoly on gossip mags. They don't know about publishing. They thought they did by buying, you know, established publishing company, Weider Publications. But as soon as they got their feet in the door, you know, things started to go downhill, because they took people who were clueless and put them in positions where Peter used to be, including Alan Donnelly. Just because you wrote for another magazine that has nothing to do with bodybuilding, for example, when they migrated people over to Flex and Muscle Fitness,
right?
You don't know what you're talking about. It'd be like people commentating on bodybuilding shows who've been around bodybuilding for 6 months.
Yeah, right.
They might know the words. They might know the full, flat, and quarter turns. They don't know what they're talking about, and that's the problem when Alan Donnelly and the gang came over to Flex and Muscle and Fitness. They really didn't. They certainly didn't have the experience and passion that people like Peter McGuff had, and it went down the tubes from there. So Peter resigned before they had.
Who do you think? Whose decision? What do you think to get rid of Peter? Though you think it was Pecker's decision?
I don't know. I don't know who made the final decision. I just know that there was they all colluded. AMI with Donnelly with really what it'd be like this. Dave, me, John.
Who fired you?
Well, my contract. That's a good point. My contract was such that said, at the end of 6 months, AMI has to renew me or let me know that I'm not being renewed. So at 7 months, I sent Donnelly an email and said, I've been here longer than you've been alive. Actually, I was at Weider for a long time.
Right.
And I said, all you need to do, and that's my expectation, is to read my contract included here. It's 2 pages. Yeah. And at the 6 month mark, let me know that I'm being renewed or let me know I'm not being renewed. That's the one and only expectation I have, because I know he's a phony. And of course, nothing. Crickets.
Never responded?
No.
Wow.
No. So, you know what? I clapped when they went out of business. No, because it's just, there's a right way and a wrong way to do things. And you know what? Small things in any business like that, they always come back to haunt you. Not that I need to know, but if I don't know, then what other little shenanigans going on behind, in the back of the business. The other thing, Dave, too, is that magazine went downhill when they got rid of McGuff because editors came on.
Right.
And I would submit my articles and read my articles and say, I do this after a while. Well, I got my check. I don't even, did I write this? I didn't know if I wrote
they were changing articles and stuff like that?
Diane
John,
Smith,
you would have gotten nuts, John, if they would have done that to you. Oh my God.
Yeah. Diane Smith or, John Smith, editor and, wordiologist changed everything around so much that it doesn't even make sense.
Wow.
I used to like up there also, and was always cool to talk to when I used to see Peter was he always had the big belt buckles and cowboy boots, Julian Schmidt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Julian Schmidt. He was
always the big cowboy hat on and the belt buckles and cowboy boots. And
what was his role there? Was he an editor?
He was but what was he doing? He was a writer.
Yeah.
He was a friend of Joe's.
Yeah,
was he a writer?
Yeah.
Jim Smaltz was there. Jim Rosenthal too. They were really popular. They were.
I remember those,
Steve Wennerstrom. They all had desks there.
Yeah, they didn't have desks. A lot of people had decent size, offices.
Cubicles there.
Yeah. The old school way.
Jay said it best when he said going to visit Joe was like going to visit the president of the United States. You'd go, the waiting room would be crazy, and Joe's office, of course, was insane.
Mm-hmm. You know how I got in there? I wasn't invited there myself. My wife at the time, Barbara, was doing a photo shoot, crazy photo shoot for the I think she was on the cover there, and she was the lingerie issue. She was one of the first real figure looking girls. And Jim Smaltz and Jim Rosenthal invited her and me, of course, to the Weider offices. And Joe wasn't even there. I didn't even get to meet Joe, but I saw they gave me the tour of the whole place. That's the one time I was there, and it was so impressive. Joe was already very old at that point too, so I don't know if that.
Now, what's her name was always up. What's her name was always up there too. Lynn Conkright always.
Lynn Conkright, yeah. How about Paula? What's her face? Paula
Crane.
Paula Crane.
Yeah.
She did my first.
She was always at Gold's. Always at Gold's wearing white tracksuit pants and a white top all the time. Always in white.
The first photo shoot I ever did was with Paula Crane.
Me too.
Me too.
Yours was probably.
Sure, it wasn't Jimmy Fredericks.
Jerry Frederick.
Jerry Frederick.
Jerry Frederick. He was a little camera. I used to tell the girls, you're not going to see these photos anywhere. These photos aren't showing up anywhere.
At least he took pictures of girls, though. Some of these guys wanted only the guy pictures.
Does Lee know the name Lacey? It feels like a game show.
Lacey Rich.
Yeah, Lacey Rich. See, John does.
Who's that?
I know the name. I don't know. You have to ask Romano off camera. I can't believe he knows the name.
I know.
Oh, I know. You told me.
Lacey Rich.
I told Dave some stories. But
him and Ted Dixon, right?
How about the?
I was going to say, wasn't he? I was going to say, wasn't he gay, Lacey Rich? But,
but he had like blackmail stories on people.
But he had a vendetta against Arnold. He had.
Really?
Like one morning, like at 9 o'clock, fax machines all over the industry would be going off with naked pictures of Arnold coming out. And
really?
Diatribes about Arnold and crazy shit.
I used to eat with Ted Dixon a bit because Ted Dixon knew my father was gay, so we had that connection, So
wink, 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 wink.
No, that's the thing though, because Ted used to tell me when Ted would talk about, I like this guy, because that's when he was dating. Who was the big guy, the personal trainer at the gym? Ted was seeing that big guy to train. I forget his name.
Oh, I know what his name was.
Oh, I know what you mean. Oh, fuck, I can't think of his name.
He was a real big guy. He was a yeah. But Ted would always be like, "Oh, this guy's cute. That guy's cute." And I made a joke one day and goes, "Oh, you look at me that way." He goes, "Oh no, Lee. I'd never fuck you. I think of you as my son."
Thank you, Ted. Yeah,
that's what I said. I said, "Well, my daddy's gay, so." I said, my daddy's gay, so it does sort of go hand in hand.
He told me that he dated Lyle Aceto. I don't know if that's true or not. Ted Dixon.
Yeah.
Is that true, John? That was a lie?
That's not true. No, it's a lie. That's not true.
We're gonna get sued again.
Yeah.
No way, man. I trained with Lyle for 2 years. I would absolutely know if anything like that was up.
I don't believe a word that came out of Ted Dixon's mouth. Ted told me that there was people living on the moon, on the dark side of the moon. He told me stories about that too. So.
Yeah,
I thought the other funny guy wasn't Ted Dixon. The other guy was. Do you remember that guy Chris called Zachary? He used to take the bodybuilders to the firehouse, and he had hemorrhoids. He'd sit on the blow-up cushion like a donut.
Lee.
It was like it was an Zachary someone, wasn't it?
George Zachary.
George
Zachary. Take that it looked like a flotation device, but he'd have to sit on it from his hemorrhoids or getting hit in the pooper too much. But he only loved the black bodybuilders. He told me. Another one, Lee, I'm not interested in you. I just love the black bodybuilders. I'm like, oh, thanks, fucking.
The guys didn't seem to be too interested in you, the gay guys. They just wanted to go eat with you. That's all.
I know. What's up with that? I didn't even get gay for pay. I missed out.
But wasn't the typical standard? This is the standard gay pickup story. I'm married, right? They always said they were married with kids. It was the lie, like so to get the guys to relax a little bit. Look, I'm married. I'm with kids. I just I like to just fantasize a little bit, So guys would think, oh, all right, well he's married, so I guess he's all right,
That was the beer.
Not George Zachary. Not Ted Dixon.
No, not Ted Dixon.
No, he was straight up about it.
Yeah.
Right.
What was the boyfriend's name? It's driving me crazy now. I can't remember.
Right.
He was a big guy.
Yeah.
Huge.
Mm-hmm.
That was really his boyfriend, huh?
Yeah, and actually, and as big as Ray was, Ted used to tell me he was the top. Ray was like 350 pounds and he was the bottom. I'm like, oh.
Wow.
Who would know? You never know, right?
It'd be like a chihuahua trying to root an elephant.
Ted was a good source of GH though, right? Because they had
all the gay guys. Yeah.
Ted's eyes were going to bug out of his head, I think, some days. The amount of stuff he was on, he had those big eyes that were like, like
yeah. He always had that grin on his face too, right? That just
wouldn't
like
you? He's surrounded by muscular men all day. It's like he was in heaven.
The only other place they've seen that grin is who, John.
Woo!
Look at those glutes.
And it's funny. I remember how Chris said we used to get the contracts. When I first signed with Weider, I had a 3-year contract. Then I went to a 2-year contract. And then they started doing the yearly ones. And that was the worst because then you started panicking. Every time you knew your contract was coming up for renewal, you're like, oh, shit, am I going to get renewed? Am I going to get renewed? 2 years, it was like you had that grace. You felt safe for 2 years. But when they went to yearly contracts, it was like, oh, shit, this sucks.
Yeah. That I can imagine that was a problem. Now,
and I'd say thing too. I'd ask Joe, "You going to sign me again?" And Joe would be like, "Yeah, you're right. I'm going to sign you, Lee. Don't worry, I'm going to sign you."
He probably loved you.
When you going to get the contract?
Well, you guys were living on that money, right? Back in those days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, you didn't have a real job, Lee, did you?
No. Before I did, but not when I got over there. It was just contracts. Yeah.
So, I mean, if you didn't have a contract, you would have had to actually go and bounce or something like that, or do something like that crazy.
I would have had to. I would have actually had to do gay for pay.
You would have had to wrestle these guys.
Posing trunk.
I would have been out there in Weider's car park doing the winky winky. Yeah, come over.
Who was the guy who lived in his car out there, John?
It's Paul Sullivan.
Oh,
Paul Sullivan.
He still texts me all the time. You know that, right?
He was in Over the Top. He was in Over the Top, wasn't he? Remember that Over the Top movie?
Yeah.
And he drank the oil. Yeah.
He's a good guy.
Actually, I saw him in a documentary. I actually felt sorry for him because it seemed like he was still living in this world where he was going to be discovered as this big movie star or something. And it almost just seems like he'd lived in his car hoping to become this big, I don't know, wrestler, bodybuilder, actor, but it just seemed to never happened.
He was like the big Lenny of his day, right?
Yeah, everyone was out there. Everyone was out there expecting to be the next wrestler, bodybuilder, actor. I mean, it was back then. It was like hundreds, right, John?
Because it happened. It happened a lot, and so everybody thought, well, maybe me too. You know,
but there were guys who got discovered.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it had plausible reality.
Every waitress or waiter was just part time because they're acting. They're acting. Okay,
right.
Good for you.
Listen, Lee, when my father first came out to California to visit me, went to the Cheesecake Factory, and he's like a Dave, Italian guy from Maine. He'd never been nowhere before. You know what I mean? I mean, he has and he hasn't. Right. So the waiter was like off the hook, like hospitable, and everything was perfect. Yeah. And my father said, "You're the best waiter I've ever had in my life. What's your background?" He says, "I'm a doctor."
No way.
And he said, "Why are you waiting tables?" He says, "I'm out here trying to be an actor."
Oh my God, really? Wow. Holy mackerel, that's funny.
I used to be a doctor, he said.
I wonder if he ever made it.
Probably not.
Now he's an orthopedic surgeon, probably, yeah.
I had a doctor once. He used to write me about being a bodybuilder, and he'd always send me pictures because I think he was in his 6 years of medical school, and he was in his 5th, and his parents wanted to be doctors. And this was when I had just like a website, so he'd send me photos. He goes, "I want to quit. I think my dream is to be a bodybuilder." I'm like, "Why give up medical school? You're 5 years in, keep doing it. You can, you can be a good, well-built doctor. At least you got that to fall back on." And he eventually sent me his photos, and this guy was probably just like an average athletic guy you'd see down on Venice Beach training, nothing big. He'd never be a pro. And he's like, "Do you think I have what it takes?" I said, "No." And I said, "Stick to being a doctor, but, train, be healthy, do whatever." He wrote me back the biggest fucking abuse. "Fuck you, I'll show you. I'm going to lead this and I'm going to be." I was like, cool. I was like, he just went up. Like, I don't know.
Bob Grushkin told me the same thing, Lee. He said, "Go back to medical school." When I went to pose for him the first time, he said, "But prove me wrong." And he's like, and then I saw him like years later, and he said to me, he goes, "You were the only guy who ever proved me wrong." He said, "The only one." So that was a nice compliment from Bob. All right, I know you guys got to go. I don't want to keep you any longer. This was my dream. I actually really enjoyed tonight's show because getting all 4 of us on live, answering people who were asking questions. To me, I enjoy this. I enjoy when the season is over and we don't have to cover shows and we can kind of just talk old times and talk about stories in the world.
What date is the? You said September now for the Arnold Classic.
I wanted to mention this on closing. Yeah, they moved the Arnold Classic to September now. And they're saying that the convention center where the Arnold is usually held right now is a COVID hospital. So that tells you a lot about what's going to happen the next 6 months in this world. I have a feeling we're going to be on lockdown again, and so
Do you think they'd ever move the Arnold though, like they did the Olympia, or they like it having it there because of Jim Lorimer? Do you think they'd ever move the Arnold?
no, not out of Columbus. I don't think so, because I think the whole economy is dependent on that, and so they would never move it. But
that's very true. 50
right?
$50 million a year they count on.
Yep.
You know, town. So.
And if they move the Arnold to September, does that mean that the Olympia, however, now will be in December again?
Yeah.
What do you think, Chris?
I think that you know, there's no way they can keep the Olympia in a month other than December, because the people who just did it, who want to sit out and get ready for it,
right.
you got to give people time to like rest,
right,
recover and get back into it. Yeah,
let alone get better. I mean,
I liked it in December. I thought it was good time of the year. Although I don't know if Vegas is the place to be anymore. I mentioned on the last show, Chris Angel, one of my clients, the magician. That theater at Planet Hollywood is his theater. He built that out recently. It's the Chris Angel Theater, for where he does his magic show there now. I didn't know he had moved from the Luxor there. And he said that it's gorgeous, but he hasn't done a show there in God knows how long, because it's shut down, So I don't know if they're going to be opening that thing anytime soon. I mean, the Olympia might be better off staying in Orlando.
Did you like my pictures I sent you of me and Chris Angel backstage when I went through?
Yes, I was shocked. I didn't know you even had seen a show like that.
Yeah,
I got to ask him about you.
My good friend Mike Hammer's a magician, and Mike Hammer opens for him a lot.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He took me over there, and I went backstage and hung out with him and stuff. Yeah, it was good.
He's a nice guy, Chris. Very nice guy. We went to high school together. We didn't know each other in high school though.
Actually, when I first went to Vegas, because before bodybuilding, my uncle Rex was a magician, and I actually did magic for 2 years. I went to magician school for 2 years.
Wow, who would have known that?
I know.
Exactly. How are you to do my son's birthday party next year?
I quit. I actually quit because I'd actually get nervous going on stage, thinking I'm going to mess this up. I'm going to fuck the trick up. They're going to see how it's done. So I quit doing magic. And then when I went to Vegas for the Olympias and stuff, and I think my first Olympia, that was in Long Beach. But when it moved to Vegas, I figure one time I got 6th place and then I get like 15,000. I think, Lee, if you had stuck to magic, look at Copperfield, $10 million. Look at this guy, $15 million.
Yeah, Chris Angel's making good money too there. Yeah.
I'm thinking, I'll pull a rabbit out of my ass right now for $5 million. It's like, geez.
Look, I'll hire you next year for my kids' birthday parties. You'll be fine.
So there's going to be no shows leading up to the Olympia.
That's why I'm saying they're going to have to move the Olympia to December because they're not going to have any qualifiers, like you said. I mean, what are they going to do? I mean, they're going to have 5 shows. I mean, I don't know. I hear Indy is supposed to be the first show this year, the Indy Pro, but I don't know if it's going to go off. I mean, what's your thinking?
No,
Chris. No. They're going to move it.
I was trying to find you something.
Oh, you going to do a magic trick for us? Take us out.
Hold on,
Dave. You know what's so fun?
What, Chris?
When we talked about this and we're guessing, like back in April, I said there's going to be no shows, including the Olympia. I used to tell you that all the time off the radio.
You did say that.
If it wasn't for Florida, they probably wouldn't even have any pro shows this year.
There would have been none. What do you think? I mean, when Biden takes office next week, what do you think? I heard they're going to lock down everything. I don't know if they will or not. Ooh, wait, hold on. Lee's got a magic wand. Hold on. Wow. Holy man. We just got 10,000 more subscribers from that one.
Thank you.
Like Nasser. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Ta-da! You're welcome.
You got anything else in that bag of tricks?
We got to load that back up again. Wait a minute.
I got these. I got all this stuff here, but I haven't done that for a long time. I'll set it all up for next time.
I set it up for next week. Yeah, you could do a magic show for us on the air. I'll actually advertise it.
Stuff and I got like all this. Yeah. Does that mean I got to go out and buy like a magician's hat and stuff?
Yeah. You like to dress up, so go get a nice little outfit for yourself.
well, Dave, you can't.
The great and wonderful Lee Priest will call you.
You can't see the pumps and that I'm wearing. I want to show you something. I want to show you something here. Look, hold on. Let's see if I can do this. I'm not sure. Hold on. Oh no, I broke it. I broke it already. So what's the point? What's the point, Lee? So this was meant to be like this, right? So it'd be like, hold on, let me put this down and turn this off so you can get the full effect where it's like this. Look. See this? Look. And I throw it over there. Oh, I caught it. And I throw it back.
Oh.
And look, I can eat it.
Oh.
And look.
Oh.
Enough, man. Oh.
That's pretty good.
Oh,
I can't figure it out. That was pretty good.
I'll throw it up.
You better quit while you're ahead.
Yeah. The first one would be better.
That's good.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like trying to figure out.
It's like the shell game almost, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like trying to figure out if he has a 3-year deal or a 1-year deal with Weider.
There you go.
I'll read this for next week.
God,
Okay.
he's got all kinds of tricks.
Maybe you can figure out if Kai Greene's ever going to compete again, and that pull something out of your head over there.
I'll see
All
if
right.
I can work out how he. I'll work out how he made that log disappear into the grapefruit.
We almost made it through the whole show.
Almost.
All right, guys.
didn't
Thank you for joining us.
I did not swear. I didn't swear.
Yeah, you were good. You were very good. You
I
did.
think we'll be okay this show.
We'll call you Harry
I
Lee
know.
Houdini. That'll be a new nickname.
What?
Houdini, the great.
One more time. One more time.
Oh, it didn't work. Oh, now
Yeah, it
you
did.
ruined it. The first time it was so well done.
There was a delay.
There's a delay. All right. Thank you, John. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Chris. I'm Dave Palumbo for another crazy installment of Heavy Muscle Radio. And as you always say every week, with Heavy Muscle Radio, guys,
The truth hurts.
The truth hurts. I gotta go
We'll talk
find.
to you.
I gotta go find a. I'm gonna go find a rabbit.